And there was a pride parade on that day, and they had armed police outside the bakery because they were scared of the gays sort of trashing the bakery, which I think is inappropriate behaviour for gay people. For a pride parade, you're meant to be about peace and love and harmony, not trashing.
Yeah, the problem is once you start taking these ideas that are like the forcing things, once you start extrapolating it, you eventually wind up at something that everybody hates. Everybody will wind up at one thing where they go like, yeah, I guess you shouldn't force this business to participate in this thing.
Yeah.
Eventually,
but also I obtusely kind of want to be on the side of the baker, because also I don't like pride. I steer well clear of it.
You don't go to the pride parade?
I hate it.
Did you used to like it or never liked it?
Never really. I don't really like crowds, but also
Are you single?
No.
Okay, it's more of a fun thing when you're single.
No, but when I was young and single, and I would avoid the pride thing. I don't like the idea of everyone sort of being collected together.
You don't like being lumped in.
Yeah, expressing the same views. Like there's a thing in my mind when everyone's together and they're all enjoying the same thing or saying the same thing. I get nervous. I had to walk out of the Lady Gaga concert for the same reason, because everyone was enjoying themselves. And I felt there should be more diversity. There should be some people objecting and saying this is bad. There should be more dissent.
More dissent.
I feel like it's got a kind of fascistic. A bit like a rally.
Yeah. I mean,
I do kind of know what you mean.
Yeah.
Though. Like, if everyone loves something, you're just like, I mean, it's not that great.
Yeah, exactly. You want to put the other side across.
You're at like a funeral and everyone's just one after another talking about how great they are. Not a single
haters.
One stand up. I didn't like him. I didn't like him. Although someone did that recently. Did you see that viral funeral clip?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Where she said about her dad.
They're going on about her dad. Yeah. Do you think she was just a contrarian? She's like,
she actually had something really nice planned, and then she's like, well, I'll be a hack at this point.
I think she was just like, I want to play devil's advocate here, right? Okay, what if he was a horrible guy?
She's just a hipster,
Maybe that's what it was. But yeah, pride, I don't do. I mean, I accidentally got caught in one year. I was at a pride. I was near a pride parade, and I got locked in a restaurant at Pizza Express because fascists turned up to attack the gay people at the pride. But that was back in the day when you had
when
that.
Fascists actually meant something.
But they don't do that anymore. They probably join in, It's a big change. But also I don't, because the pride has sort of morphed into this weird. It's mostly straight people now.
It's corporate.
It's like a straight day out, and you bring your family and your kids, and there's nothing subversive about it. It's so. And I hate going into
corporate thing. Yeah, it's
the
like
flag
the Santa
everywhere.
Claus parade, basically, or Thanksgiving parade.
Yeah, and I hate going to a restaurant and I've got the rainbow
With
flag
ball
all
gags.
over my. And I'm like, I don't need to be told. Well, I went into a Wagamama and there was a sign saying, we're proud to hire gay people. I thought, well, why wouldn't you be? Like,
it's like, were you not before?
I would assume that you don't hate gays. You don't need to tell me.
Just so you know, we don't hate gays.
The problem is
we have good pancakes and we even hire gays.
Yeah. Just don't tell me that because it makes me suspicious.
Right.
Someone says to me, I really don't hate gays. I think you hate gays. Like, why would you have to say that?
You know what it is because there's one chain that started doing that.
Yeah.
And then they were the first ones. They go, hey, we don't hate gays. And everybody's like, wait, so do we, if we don't say it, does that mean?
Right, exactly. You shouldn't have to say what is the default expectation.
Right. And then everybody has to just start saying the default thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just so you know, we are gays here. I remember my first memory that I always think of when I went to the gay pride parade was we got stuck in the parade. Like my family was driving home and I was like 8, and this guy with like nipple tassels and the whole thing comes up to the window and he goes, "We're proud, we're gay, so get out of our way." That was his chant that he was saying to every car.
Why?
We're like, what is this? And my dad's like, just kids, like, don't worry about it.
But the fetishy thing is quite weird as well. Like, that's...
It got a little much.
That's not who you are innately. That's just something you like to do.
Things got out of hand.
I find it a bit odd. Because it's not just gay pride. You've also got the pride for the various different identities and flags. And there's a bear pride parade. You know bears?
Yeah.
So are you quite a bear? Are you quite beary?
I would be.
You would be a bear.
I think I would be.
If he was true to himself.
Oh, you're not gay.
I'm not gay.
You're not gay. Okay, fine. But you would make a decent bear.
I think so. Yeah,
yeah, definitely. You would make a decent bear.
You would be an otter, right? Probably.
What's an otter?
Is that an old twink?
What's an otter?
An otter is like a sort of athletic, semi-hairy.
I think I heard this before.
Yeah, sort of semi-hairy, athletic.
It's like a twink.
Athletic, hear that?
That ages out.
You seem quite athletic.
Thank you. Yeah. So athletic is.
So like if you're a bear, like an otter is a subcategory.
Otter's
of bear.
sort of like jacked, gated, like.
But you can be like a wolf. Wolf is sort of semi-hairy, muscular, and sexually aggressive. That would be a wolf. You can be a gym rat if you go to the. You can be a pup. A pup is like a cub. A cub is like a bear, a young bear. A sort of a hairy twink.
I think
a hairy twink would be a cub. So
too old for it to be.
So it is like a menagerie. There's very specific classifications of the gays.
Everything just always gets chopped up.
And let's hear more about Otter again.
Otters are very sought after. You would be very.
Okay.
I think you would do well.
Do people self-identify as these things? And then people are like, "You're not that."
They do,
like, is it similar where they go like, "Hey, I'm an otter"? You go, "Come on."
No, it's one of those things where people probably put it in their Grindr profiles and like, "I'm an otter," and you show up, you go, "An otter, huh?"
Yeah.
You get catfished.
More like a catfish.
Yeah, you look like an otter that got eaten by a bear. You look like the bear that ate the otter.
I don't mind the bears getting together and having their parade, but they've never been discriminated against as a group.
Parade?
Yeah, there's a bear pride. They've got their own flag. It's got a little paw on the flag. Bear pride.
Really?
And they go on a march, but they haven't been discriminated against. There isn't a history of people burning fat hairy men at the stake. That's
I guess because they're physically imposing.
Could be that. But I think they've always been fine. I understood gay pride in the early years when it's illegal. There's discrimination. You're going to get locked away.
I mean, the Stonewall or whatever is very close to here.
So it makes complete sense that have that. So that's why pride to me makes no sense at all now, because we have complete equal rights. So what's the point? What are you marching for?
And then eventually when they were like, we can't have police, and you're like, this is like a giant parade. Like, we have to have some.
Well, it just became the parade for all the causes too.
Well, it's anything now, and it's anything and nothing, and it's just a big excuse for a party, and it's corporate. It just feels
that's the part of it that's like fine though. The excuse for a party where you're like, I don't know, if you're like 20 and live in the city and it's an excuse for this big party.
Yeah, it is, but
anything could be. Yeah, that part I get.
Yeah, but then why carry all these placards about how oppressed you are?
Well, that's the part where it's that's
because you're not.
I'm back out.
Yeah. The oppression element is probably waning as the years go by.
But it's just not true.
Yeah,
not in a metropolitan.
No,
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's true in Saudi Arabia and it's true in the Middle East and all those sorts of places. But they don't fly
the odd person.
They don't fly the flags over there, and where it would actually make a difference. I mean, the corporations that have the gay pride flag over here, and then they discreetly remove it when it comes to their Middle East branches.
I know
all the time that happens.
Yeah. Well, but I always think of it like, okay, so whenever you see a guy, like, you remember how, I don't know if you saw this, but there was like a guy that there was like a shooter, and his dad. Do you remember his dad was like a homophobe?
Yeah, it was recently in Colorado Springs.
The Colorado Springs. So it was a shooter. I did a bad job explaining it. But his dad basically came out and he was like, no, my son's not gay. That. People were saying, yeah, right? And I go, my point is that like, so there was this guy that was homophobic and everyone in the world's seen it. Yeah. If something was common, when one happened, everyone in the whole country wouldn't see it.
Right.
You go... Right? If you go, everyone thinks this, you go, well, then why anytime they find one, it is like the number one topic. That's obviously something that's rare.
Yeah, and exactly. It's rare to even hear, like, when you hear that out of someone's mouth, you go like, oh, crazy. Like, I just really didn't know those people
mistrust this idea of wanting to be a victim. I think it's really vulgar.
Yeah.
Like why deny all the progress that's been made and pretend you're a victim? What is the allure of it? What's the appeal of it? I don't,
advancement in your comedy career.
Yeah, advancement.
Oh, there's that.
Social status of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think it's quite perverse.
Acceptance.
It is perverse.
Why have we reached a situation where where you could garner social status out of being a victim? Why? Why is that rewarded in that way?
Well, I think it's like a part of culture that's always existed. And if you look back to, not in the same way, but if you look at like, okay, think about like music when it was like everyone was emo, right?
Yeah.
Like being the depressed guy would like gain social status in that community.
But that's not very long ago. That's not a big historical example.
No, but I mean like you can pick communities. Like I'm sure that there was like the beatnik era probably being like the depressed guy was like a badge of honor almost. So it's not the first time that like
maybe not
being like what you would think of as like a bad quality was a positive quality.
Well, I mean, some people have argued this about Christianity, is that Christianity promoted the idea of the triumph of the victim. You've got Christ on the cross, and the symbol of the cross is, I am the victim.
I've never heard that.
Don't tell Kanye this.
Sorry, I won't. I'm not going near Kanye, but and that this is that, and that's where. I mean, it's been proposed that that's where this woke idea comes from.
I guess you could say you're like, I'm this guy that took all this stuff.
Yeah,
that's Christ.
So he's up there very dramatically. He's like.
Christ is trying to be a victim.
It's very dramatic. Like my friend Scott Capurro, who's a stand-up, he does this bit about Christ on the cross, forgetting his safe word, and that's why he was up there. And it's like, but there is this sort of and there is a case to this that the woke ideology could be said to have been birthed by Christianity, or the remnants of Christianity, because it does follow those ideas, even though ostensibly it's dead against it.
Allah was like, yeah, no, my son's not doing none of that shit.
Yeah. But I just find it really like self-pity is a really unattractive quality anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and I just and when I hear people complain when they've got so much, and we're all so pampered. We're just all so pampered. Can't we just accept that we've got it pretty well?